welcome back to the last episode in this three-part presentation on inequalities in Britain, where the topic is identifying race and gender inequalities in this country. And in this afternoon's slideshow, you will hear about explanations about employment, education, housing, health, social mobility, and gender societal expectations. This slideshow illustrates how inequalities has profoundly affected an individual whose story will be discussed alongside statistical research evidence about Black Afro-Caribbean ethnic groups. This female is of Windrush generation descendant. Born and educated in London, and her story will be included as historical evidence of her own personal experience of racial prejudice and discrimination. However, for security reasons, she prefers her name not to be revealed as she fears intimidation from far-right extremists. So, for this presentation, she will be known as Jay, and her voice is disguised to protect her identity. Listeners, be aware that this presentation contains upsetting and explicit language and may well offend, and this content may be unsuitable for kids. The analysis in this presentation is based from a Eurocentric young socialist point of view, and this PowerPoint presentation is brought to you by Politico Hobo Hub. Recent studies show that Black British females outperform Black males at every level in education from primary through secondary and into further and higher education. Black British females tend to outperform academically, and this is reflected in various educational outcomes. So, why do females outperform males academically? This outcome is explained by social scientific research analysis. Research analysis into GCSE level education indicates that girls generally outperform boys on most GCSE attainment measures. For instance, 57% of Black Caribbean girls attain GCSEs in both English and maths at grades 9 to 4, compared to 46% for Black Caribbean boys. Furthermore, research into higher education found that young Black ethnic groups are more likely to go to higher education than average. However, there are marked differences in higher education entry rates between different Black ethnic groups, such as BAME undergraduates, and between men and women. These disparities are consistent with broader national trends where girls tend to achieve higher academic results than boys across various ethnic groups. However, it is important to recognize that these outcomes are influenced by a range of factors, including but not limited to socialization patterns, support systems, and societal expectation. Recent research analysis on Black British females suggests that the educational attainment gap between Black females and males is down to socialization and expectations in that Black girls are often socialized differently than boys, with a stronger emphasis on education and academic success. They may also face different expectations from family and community, which can influence their motivation and educational outcomes. Let us examine the four main factors which contribute to Black British females achieving such good grades. The first contributing factor can be found in career pathway opportunities because historically, educated Black women have had more favorable labor market opportunities compared to their male counterparts. This has created stronger incentives for Black women to pursue higher education and employment. The second contributing factor are gender role identities. Societal norms and gender roles can play a part. This means that Black females are encouraged to apply for jobs which are predominantly overrepresented by males. For instance, Black females might be encouraged to pursue academic work as a means of independence and financial security, and to rebalance the academic male-female ratio in that higher educational ivory tower. A third contributing factor is in resilience and having a caring support network. Research into Black females found that developing resilience and strong support networks can help them navigate the educational system more successfully. Finally, having institutional support is handy because schools and educational institutions may offer more support and resources to Black females, recognizing the need to address gender disparities. It is important to note that while Black females may outperform males in educational settings, they still face significant challenges and barriers in higher education and the labor market due to systemic racism and sexism. Understanding and addressing the root causes of these disparities is crucial for creating a more equitable educational system for all. Jay says her experiences of education in Britain is fine, and that she has passed all of her GCSEs and A-level examinations gaining top grades, and has even been accepted onto a university course where she will be studying music theory and continue learning to play her musical instruments. But Kay says she really wanted to be an astrophysicist, but her school teacher talked her out of applying for this course, telling her that there is no real career pathways in astrophysics where she lives. The problem here is that Kay attended a school within a business catchment area for musicians. A business catchment academy is a business-focused school which specializes in business, vocational, or technical education, and Kay attended a music-orientated vocational school. So, Kay had changed her mind about being a musician, but because she lived in a business catchment area, she had no other choice but to be a musician. Now she has to continue studying to be a musician.
Leon Trotsky's seminal work, Where is Britain Going?, remains a poignant commentary on the struggles faced by the British working class, especially considering the immense global economic challenges we face today. Written over 80 years ago, Trotsky's insights into British imperialism's waning power are more pertinent than ever. In this book, Trotsky illuminates the path forward by drawing lessons from the Bolshevik Revolution. He critically examines and dismisses the efficacy of parliamentary approaches and Fabian socialism. Where is Britain Going? Not only debunks outdated pretensions but also sets forth revolutionary perspectives that resonate with our times. The young socialist extends an invitation to the youth, be they unemployed, employed, or students, to join us in the pursuit of a global revolution. This book serves as a beacon, guiding us towards collective action and societal transformation.
Black British women are more likely to live in smaller properties of poorer quality and are more likely to be renting the property they live in. The reasons why Black British women are more likely to live in smaller properties of poor quality are multifaceted and rooted in broader systemic issues. Here are the contributing factors to this big issue. Firstly, there is significant ethnicity gap in pay, wealth, and property ownership, which is causing financial inequality. This means that Black households, and particularly those led by women, often have lower earnings and less wealth in the form of savings, investments, or pensions compared to their white counterparts. Secondly, the English Housing Survey has highlighted disparities in home ownership levels among different communities, with Black individuals facing challenges in accessing quality housing. Thirdly, Black people are generally younger and more likely to live in urban areas, which can result in higher living costs and less time to accumulate wealth. The demographics can affect the ability to afford larger or better quality housing. Looking at work concerns, a lack of employment opportunities can also be a contributing factor because unemployment rate among Black individuals tend to be higher, and they are more likely to have a household income below a certain legal threshold, which impacts their housing options. And when it comes to gentrification, Black British women may experience gentrification differently, with historical racialization of space and negative media representations affecting their place attachments and community strength, which can decrease resistance to gentrification and lead to displacement. Another important issue is intersectional vulnerability, which means that women, particularly those from minority ethnic backgrounds, face intersecting factors such as lower pay, higher rates of unemployment, and the likelihood of being a single parent, which contribute to poverty and affect housing quality. Finally, overcrowding and housing conditions is a major problem as households headed by people from Black and ethnic minority backgrounds are more likely to experience multiple housing problems, such as affordability issues, overcrowding, and substandard living conditions, which can negatively impact overall health and well-being. These factors are interconnected and highlight the need for targeted policy interventions and societal change to address the inequalities faced by Black British women living in homes of disrepair. Jay resides with her mother in a London housing estate, sharing a cramped bedroom with her 4 siblings. The space is clearly insufficient for 5 growing individuals. Jay's mother sought larger accommodation, but the council informed her that no suitable properties for large families were available within the borough, and if she desires housing, she must relocate to Manchester. Jay describes the entire home as dilapidated, damp, and infested with flies, mold, and fungus spores. Women tend to have greater life expectancy, but have higher rates of ill health due to poverty and stress-related illness and physical ailments. The problems need to be addressed. Immediate action needs to be taken in regard to women's social, economic, and health care. So, what are the reasons behind women's longevity and health challenges? Let us take a closer look at these important contributing 5 elements. In regard to life expectancy, research have shown that in England and Wales, both males and females in the white and mixed ethnic groups had lower life expectancy at birth than all other ethnic groups, with the Black African group having statistically significant higher life expectancy than most groups. In regard to health disparities, research have shown that despite the higher life expectancy, Black British women may experience higher rates of certain chronic conditions and face various barriers to accessing healthcare. This could be due to socioeconomic factors, discrimination in healthcare settings, or higher levels of stress related to experiences of racism and inequality. In regard to social determinants of health, research have shown that factors such as income, employment, education, and living conditions significantly influence health outcomes. Black British women may be more likely to live in deprived areas, affecting their overall health status despite a longer life expectancy. In regard to cultural and behavioral factors, research have shown that cultural practices, dietary habits, and attitudes towards health can also play a role in the prevalence of certain health conditions among Black British women, which might not necessarily affect their life expectancy. In regard to resilience and community support, research have shown that the concept of resilience, including strong community and family support networks, may contribute to longer life expectancy even in the face of health challenges. However, it is important to note that these factors are interrelated and cannot be viewed in isolation. Addressing the health disparities experienced by Black women requires a multifaceted approach that considers all these aspects. Firstly, there should be health literacy available to patients. This means supporting patients in the decision-making process at health hubs. If this is done, then this will reduce health-related disparities by empowering patients to navigate individual health choices. Secondly, Young Socialists would like to see improved resource coordination to benefit populations most affected by disparities. And finally, the government should offer multicultural competency training to healthcare providers to reduce Black and ethnic minority healthcare disparities.
Here is a message from the Black Project, Legal Support Initiative. The Black Justice Project offers complimentary legal consultation for the Black community, focusing on employment discrimination, grievances involving police conduct, and immigration issues pertinent to the Windrush scandal. For further inquiries, please reach out via email at lac@cmol.ac.uk.
The chance of improving one's own life through work are considerably less for women than men. In 2012, a report by the Resolution Foundation, who are an independent think tank who focus on improving the living standards of those in Britain on low to middle incomes, and this organization found out that women were 40% less likely to improve social mobility than their white British counterparts. What is understood is that improving social mobility as a Black woman can be challenging due to systemic barriers and societal biases. Black women often face a unique intersection of racial and gender discrimination that can impact various aspects of life, including education, employment, and healthcare. Despite these challenges, many Black women have made significant strides in various fields and continue to be trailblazers for social change. Efforts to improve social status often involve overcoming obstacles such as economic disparities. Economic disparities are when Black women are more likely to experience pay gaps and have less access to wealth-building opportunities. There are educational barriers as well. This is because access to quality education and resources can be limited, affecting career prospects. There are also healthcare inequities. This is when Black women may face biases in healthcare that affect their well-being and life expectancy. There is often a lack of representation in leadership roles in both the public and private sectors. Addressing these issues requires systemic change, including policy reforms, community support, and advocacy. It also involves personal resilience and the support of networks that empower Black women to achieve their goals and improve their social standing. Gentrification disproportionately affects Black women, intertwining racial, class, and gender inequalities. As neighborhoods gentrify, unevenly distributed benefits often fail to reach marginalized communities. The negative impact that gentrification has is that it disrupts place attachments, weakens community bonds, and decreases resistance to gentrification. For example, British Black women in areas like Deptford, New Cross, and London experience these challenges, exacerbated by historical racialization of spaces such as pubs and costly events, as well as that social media negative stereotypical representations of Black women are used as gentrification cannon fodder. Black women now find themselves in a situation where they grapple with questions of belonging, identity, and race-related agency in the face of urban change. Jay was asked what were her personal experiences with gentrification, and she said,
I don't think gentrification is right, because it weakens community bonds, because I have lived in London all my life, and now the community events and places where I used to socialise are too expensive to visit. I am finding it difficult to associate with the local gentry because I don't go to places that they normally go to, such as the coffee shop, the wine bar or golf course. These types of places are too expensive for me, and not really the kind of places I would like to be present at because I don't drink wine, and I don't want to hear excessive coffee shop chat, and I don't want to be hanging around playing golf in the cold, freezing rain. So, in this sense, my lifestyle is different to the gentry's lifestyle because I would rather sit in the park and think about climate change, whereas the gentry would rather remake, rebuild, and commercialize social interactions. Gentrification is not helping the environment. What it does is alienate people who are not into what they like to do, and it is impacting hardest on the indigenous Black British population as well as nature and cities the world over. The gentry have no idea what they have started and how to stop it with a sensible discourse. Yes, I do want to improve my social standing, but there is no place for me to unpack my woes and socialise at the same time. I have been told by a clown with OCD to go to Speaker's Corner, but why should I travel to Hyde Park Speaker's Corner to chat my woes to a bunch of tourists? So, overall gentrification has isolated my existence to sitting on a roadside bench watching the world go by.
Leon Trotsky's seminal work, Where is Britain Going?, remains a poignant commentary on the struggles faced by the British working class, especially considering the immense global economic challenges we face today. Written over 80 years ago, Trotsky's insights into British imperialism's waning power are more pertinent than ever. In this book, Trotsky illuminates the path forward by drawing lessons from the Bolshevik Revolution. He critically examines and dismisses the efficacy of parliamentary approaches and Fabian socialism. Where is Britain Going not only debunks outdated pretensions but also sets forth revolutionary perspectives that resonate with our times. The young socialist extends an invitation to the youth, be they unemployed, employed, or students, to join us in the pursuit of a global revolution. This book serves as a beacon, guiding us towards collective action and societal transformation.
Gender inequality is a multifaceted issue that encompasses various forms of discrimination, societal expectations, and attitudes that collectively contribute to unequal outcomes for different genders. When considering Black British people, these inequalities can be further compounded by racial discrimination. Discrimination can manifest in the workplace through unequal pay or opportunities for advancement, in education through differential treatment by educators, and in healthcare disparities in treatment and outcomes. Black British women, in particular, may face a dual burden of gender and racial discrimination, affecting their economic stability and social mobility. Extensive research has shown that societal expectations are based upon traditional gender roles, which are often dictated by what is considered appropriate behavior or aspirations for men and women. These expectations can limit individuals' choices and opportunities. For Black British people, societal expectations may also be influenced by racial stereotypes, which can create additional barriers to equality. Prejudices and biases, whether conscious or unconscious, can lead to discriminatory attitudes that affect how individuals are treated and perceived in society, such as racial profiling. Black British individuals may encounter attitudes that undermine their abilities or contributions, which can hinder their educational and professional achievements. Addressing gender inequalities requires a concerted effort to challenge and change discriminatory practices, societal norms, and prejudicial attitudes, ensuring that all individuals have equal opportunities to succeed and contribute to society, regardless of their gender or race. However, gender inequality is a multifaceted issue that encompasses various forms of discrimination, societal expectations, and attitudes that collectively contribute to unequal outcomes for different genders. When considering Black British people, these inequalities can be further compounded by racial discrimination. So, how does gender inequalities manifest itself within the workplace? Gender inequalities may manifest in the workplace through unequal pay or opportunities for advancement. How does unequal pay and the lack of opportunities manifest itself in a discriminatory way? This is a good question. Right. So, for instance, discrimination can happen in education where certain students may receive differential treatment by educators, and the same discriminatory practices can happen in providing equal healthcare wishes. This creates an unnatural mindset in education and in both healthcare treatment and outcomes. Another example is this video in this slide. This video publicizes that Black women in the UK are 4 times more likely to die in childbirth than white women, and that some of the challenges faced by women today can seem hard to believe. Sister Circle is the organization behind this April Fool's Day, Believe It or Not advert. But believe it or not, this situation is happening for real, and Sister Circle are certainly letting Westfield shoppers know it is really happening. Sister Circle is a health charity based in London, and their focus is on supporting women in challenging circumstances, offering services such as support for new mothers, survivors of female genital cutting, and those escaping domestic abuse or trafficking. Sister Circle's electronic billboard campaign, #NotAprilFools, which is situated outside Westfield's Shepherd's Bush shopping precinct, certainly stopped me in my tracks. The billboard highlights the alarming maternal death rates and poor outcomes for pregnant women of color in the UK. The campaign emphasizes that these issues are not a joke and should be taken seriously, with the goal of raising awareness and driving change. In this context, Black British women are facing a dual burden of gender and racial discrimination, affecting their economic stability and social mobility due to governmental healthcare mishaps. This is why societal expectations have to change, because traditional gender roles often dictate what is considered appropriate behavior or aspirations for men and women. These expectations can limit individual choices and opportunities. For Black British people, societal expectations may also be influenced by racial stereotypes, which can create additional barriers to equality. And when it comes to barriers to equality, then ways to eradicate gender and racial discriminatory mindsets must be implemented by any means possible. Finally, in regards to attitudes, prejudices and biases, whether conscious or unconscious, can lead to discriminatory attitudes that affect how individuals are treated and perceived in society. Black British individuals may encounter attitudes that undermine their abilities or contributions, which can hinder their educational and professional achievements. Addressing gender inequality requires a concerted effort to challenge and change discriminatory practices, societal norms, and prejudiced attitudes, ensuring that all individuals have equal opportunities to succeed and contribute to society, regardless of their race or gender.
Here is a message from the Black Project Legal Support Initiative. The Black Justice Project offers complimentary legal consultation for the Black community, focusing on employment discrimination, grievances involving police conduct, and immigration issues pertinent to the Windrush scandal. For further inquiries, please reach out via email at lac@cmol.ac.uk.
Gender stereotyping exists in society. Gender stereotypes are preconceived notions about people based on their gender. These stereotypes often lead to biases and prejudices that unfairly influence how we perceive and interact with others. Women are more likely to be encouraged into caring professions such as nursing or childcare, while men are more likely to take employment in engineering or computing, and in workplaces that tend to pay higher wages. Stereotyping causes harm in the workplace, and the reasons why stereotyping causes harm in the workplace is that it often takes various forms which lead to prejudice and discrimination. Here are some examples of various forms of stereotyping. Employees from specific ethnic or cultural backgrounds may be stereotyped as having certain characteristics or abilities, which can limit their opportunities for career growth. Age-related stereotypes are a regular feature in workplace conversational rebuffs. Younger employees might be labeled as inexperienced or lacking commitment, while older employees could be seen as resistant to change or not tech-savvy. Even being referred to as young or old is an issue in many ways. Gender stereotypes persist in that women face continued assumptions about their leadership abilities, emotional stability, or commitment to work, particularly after maternity leave, which can impact their career advancement. When it comes to sexual orientation, individuals may be stereotyped based on their sexual orientation, which can affect their work relationships and opportunities. Disability stereotypes are unhelpful because employees with disabilities might be underestimated in terms of their capabilities or assumed to require excessive accommodations. Preconceived ideas regarding women should behave are considered as stereotyping. For example, women are expected to be passive and quiet and allow men to do the talking. This is so wrong because this attitude can discourage women from speaking up in the workplace. The idea that all women are the so-called ideal lady, who's sweet and polite as well as innocent, is so wrong. This kind of stereotyping can limit women's impact on discourse in so far that women who want to speak out may fear intimidation or backlash for speaking out. Another preconceived idea is that all women should have children. This particular notion is upsetting because there are loads of men who are childless that attract little attention, but women who are childless are often seen as having failed if they have not had kids. This type of prejudicial stereotyping must stop because not everyone wants to belong to the baby club. These stereotypes not only affect the individuals directly, but also contribute to a negative work environment, reducing overall morale and productivity. It is crucial for organizations to actively work on dismantling these biases to create an inclusive and fair workplace. The question of whether British men and women have different aspirations is a subject of ongoing research and debate, but studies have shown that there can be differences in the aspirations of adults, influenced by a variety of factors including societal norms, cultural expectations, and personal choices. Research has shown that there is an aspiration gap. This is where women may not wish to scale the corporate ladder, especially in a profoundly male-dominated field. This could be due to various reasons, such as work-life balance preferences, perceived barriers to advancement, or lack of interest in certain roles. Additionally, life cycle differences between men and women have been observed in that early adult life. Women are more likely than men to fulfill their material goods and family life aspirations, which then shifts later in life. It is important to note that these findings are general trends and do not apply to every individual. This means that aspirational attitudes are highly personal and can vary widely within any gender group. Moreover, societal changes and policies aimed at equality and diversity are continuously influencing and reshaping these trends. Let us take a closer look at male versus female aspirations. In terms of leadership aspirations, research shows that men are significantly more likely to aspire to leadership roles than women. For example, in a company with 8 hierarchical levels, this difference translates into having 213 men for every woman at the highest organizational level. While efforts to increase women's participation in leadership are well-intentioned, it is essential to consider whether women desire these roles. In terms of barriers and aspiration, girls often list doing something good for the world and helping people as their aspirations more than boys do. However, barriers still exist, affecting both genders' aspirations. In terms of university and occupations, teenage girls in Great Britain are more likely than boys to expect to go to university and aspire to professional or managerial occupations. Despite this, they may also consider working in female-dominated fields and earning relatively lower wages. In terms of occupational sorting, generational shifts show that females still sort into traditionally male roles, influenced by various childhood factors. Promoting gender equality involves understanding and addressing these aspirations and barriers.
Leon Trotsky's seminal work, Where is Britain Going?, remains a poignant commentary on the struggles faced by the British working class, especially considering the immense global economic challenges we face today. Written over 80 years ago, Trotsky's insights into British imperialism's waning power are more pertinent than ever. In this book, Trotsky illuminates the path forward by drawing lessons from the Bolshevik Revolution. He critically examines and dismisses the efficacy of parliamentary approaches and Fabian socialism. Where is Britain Going? Not only debunks outdated pretensions, but also sets forth revolutionary perspectives that resonate with our times. The young socialist extends an invitation to the youth, be they unemployed, employed, or students, to join us in the pursuit of a global revolution. This book serves as a beacon, guiding us towards collective action and societal transformation.
Despite government legislation, women continue to experience lower rates of pay and poorer employment opportunities. A newspaper report in 2013 and 2015 in the Guardian newspaper report that as many as 54,000 women every year lose their job while on maternity leave. This analytical evidence comes from the Equality and Human Rights Commission annual report. This report shows analytical evidence which confirms that up to 50,000 women may be forced out of their jobs over pregnancy-related discrimination. What this report goes on to highlight is the significant challenges women face in the workplace related to maternity leave and discrimination. Discrimination cases in employment is an ongoing concern. Here are a few examples. Back in 2013, nearly 2,000 members of Unison won an equal pay claim against Scottish councils. Members reported the council to the tribunal after a discriminatory bonus to employees working in traditional male roles were denied to women carrying out different but comparable work. In 2013, Birmingham City Council agreed to make settlement payments to around 11,000 workers who were mostly female workers who had missed out on similar bonuses. In 2014, a group of 23 male university workers from Wales received over £500,000 in compensation as they were paid less than female colleagues on the same pay grade. In a report by The Guardian, it was revealed that more than 70% of working mothers who requested furlough from work for childcare reasons due to schools closures having refused leave of absence. This survey of 50,000 women in the UK highlighted the crisis facing working mothers and was described as a cry for help by the Trade Union Congress. The lack of support for working parents has caused financial hardship and stress, disproportionately affecting low-paid mothers and single parents. The TUC is calling for measures such as temporary legal rights to furlough, paid carers leave, flexible work options, increased sick pay, and access to self-employment income support for newly self-employed parents. The issue remains heavily gendered, with fathers also facing similar challenges when requesting furlough.
This further research slide is our final statement on the ongoing issues at hand. So, based on the research that has been gathered, persistent inequalities persist in pay, wealth, qualifications, housing, and employment. Unfortunately, these disparities continue to affect individuals across the UK, and with the ongoing cost of living crisis, this situation impacts hardest on Black and ethnic minority groups. High unemployment and no career prospects can be demoralizing, and low-paid work is a problem because the wages fail to cover rent, transportation, and basic nutritional needs. In terms of workplace challengers, researchers examining candidate elimination processes have discovered that highly educated women often face rejection due to workplace cultural dynamics. These dynamics, which are based upon patterns of interaction and relationships among employees, significantly impact women whose cultural background may be deemed as unrelatable or unsuitable in the realms of office politics. Furthermore, Black women and ethnic minorities with qualifications, such as A-levels or postgraduate degrees, encounter further obstacles to their dream job because of race and gender inequalities. This situation is partly to do with misogynistic employment application forms and racial profiling practices, all of which are used as part of the elimination process by employment agencies. In this sense, Black women and ethnic minorities find it a struggle to find suitable work because they are being surreptitiously directed into lower paid jobs, and that is one of the reasons why occupational segregated jobs have Black and ethnic minority workers. Young socialists want this cycle that put unsuspecting adults into low-paid segregated jobs broken. Otherwise, Black and ethnic minorities who want to aspire to exciting and interesting career opportunities may find themselves forever confined to doldrum roles in caregiving, cashiering, catering, cleaning, and clerical work. The worst case scenario is that being in these low-paid dead-end jobs could lead to being perpetually in abject poverty, which is a state of being extremely unhappy, poor, and unsuccessful. This vicious cycle must be stopped because it looks like the ruling classes are taking advantage of Black women and ethnic minority groups in a bad way. Finally, the homes where Black and ethnic minorities live often fall far short of acceptable housing standards. This is not right because leaks, crumbling brickwork, and inadequate maintenance create conditions conducive to mold, insect infestations, and bacterial infections, and this causes poor physical or mental conditions. Furthermore, thousands of families endure cramped living spaces in substandard housing conditions in deprived neighborhoods. Young socialists demand that dilapidated housing conditions must come to an end and rehouse families immediately because housing conditions are substandard and not good for workers' overall health, particularly if they have to go to work in ill health due to abhorrent living conditions. Thank you for watching this PowerPoint slideshow presentation. Our 3-part episode on identifying race and gender inequalities in Britain concludes here. We hope it has been thought-provoking and interesting. If you found this subject fascinating and want to contribute to our studies on Black British and ethnic minority inequalities, please share your individual experiences in the comments below. Remember, discussing these issues can drive positive change. Finally, a heartfelt thank you to Faye, Kay, and Jay for participating in this study. Your voices matter. So, there you have it. Thank you all for your time and attention, and farewell for now.
I saw you before the old fox could dig, and I knew you'd be worth all my son could give, skirting around in the night, preparing a din that feels just right. No, not my son, no place to call home, 'cause he knew you'd give him one. I loved you before the old bird could sing, I knew then your heart would be worth a king, flying around in the morn, building their nests to keep them warm. No, not my son, no warmth of his own, 'cause he knew you'd give him some. Wrapped up in your love is where I belong. The place I call home.